Steps into it, pass is caught! Diggs! Sideline! Touchdown! Unbelievable! Vikings win!
I've been an athlete my whole life, and I've always been told 7% of high school athletes play in college. Less than 1% of those athletes go pro, which means my chances, as well as any other hopeful athlete, is just 0.023% of becoming a professional athlete. We spend so much of our young lives dedicating almost all of our time and energy for the slight little chance of making it. But the reality for most of us is that there's a whole life out there waiting for us after sports are over. In a moment, I'll share some of what I've learned from former athletes, but first I want to share my story and why this matters. Sports, and more specifically football, is my passion. My career isn't quite over yet. I'm fortunate enough to play college football. But that means I only have 4 short years left. This is my look at what might come next, what life is like for a former athlete when they can no longer play. The biggest thing I've discovered is that former athletes suffer from depression at an alarming rate. Some studies show that almost 40% of athletes have depression compared to the national average of 8.3% of US adults. Depression is not just feeling sad. Depression is something that consumes your soul and prevents you from striving for anything in life. This is a serious issue that is ignored. Not only do athletes suffer from depression at an alarming rate, but they're prone to anxiety. Former athletes have an anxiety rate double the national average. Anxiety strikes fear into us. It prevents us from doing things that we have always done in our normal lives. Anxiety does not only affect our waking moments, but also prevents us from sleeping. It paralyzes our ability to live normal. I wanted to go straight to the source. I needed to find someone who had played at the highest level. I took a phone call with former Clemson track star Patrick Driscoll. Patrick was cut halfway through his collegiate career and was left stranded. He had to take this problem of transitioning from being an athlete to becoming a regular person head on.
It sounds so dramatic, but I thought it was literally the end of the world.
When Patrick was a part of the team, everything revolved around his sport. From how he scheduled his days to how he ate, who he hung out with, and even how he planned. It was so wrapped up in his identity as an athlete that when it was no longer there, he didn't know who he was.
So when I got back on campus the following semester, it was so weird, bro. So weird. I'm talking about I'm just so used to being with my teammates all the time and everything, and going to workouts with them, and even weekend plans, hanging out with them. But I knew in my head I couldn't be that guy who got cut from the team, still trying to hang around all the track guys. So it was definitely some trial and error and trying to figure out what do I like outside of track? Who can I hang out with outside of my teammates? What can I do with my free time?
Finding out who the new Patrick was going to be wasn't easy. He went through depression. He didn't seem to fit in anywhere.
So I found myself definitely really isolated and alone.
The biggest thing that helped him was exploring his new passion while also incorporating the stuff he's always loved.
I told myself I'm not Patrick Driscoll the runner. I'm Patrick Driscoll the, aspiring sports broadcaster. Patrick Driscoll the ASAP Rocky music lover. Patrick Driscoll the coffee fanatic.
He eventually found his passion in broadcasting. He created his own sports show at Clemson. He learned to write AP style and shoot video. He also developed other interests like exploring new restaurants, but kept something he loved from his past, working out.
It was one of the first steps I took to take things in my own initiative and be okay, let's stop making this a pity party. All things have to come to an end. Let's figure out what's next.
He wouldn't trade his experiences as an athlete because it has made him a stronger individual.
The one thing that I take the most pride in being a former Division I athlete is you can take all that adversity you faced in your life, and whatever comes your way next, you're going to be oh my gosh, this is nothing. I was able to do this, and that. So how is this little problem at work going to set me back? It's not, because you have an elite mindset that just cannot be broken. So just carry that title with pride even when you're done, because it will take you so far in life.
After my call with Patrick, I wanted to hear from current athlete on how they'll handle the transition. Tion Wadley is a senior football and basketball player at Riley High School. Tion plans to play collegiate football at the highest level, with his top schools being Kansas, Ole Miss, and South Florida. Tion also plans on becoming a civil engineer after college.
Sports means a lot, actually. I think it's a part of my life for sure, but also like a part of growing my identity and being a person. I think sports teaches you a lot, not just about life, but yourself in general too.
Unlike Patrick, Tion has already started trying to diversify outside of sports. His parents have helped him develop a strong foundation, not just for sports, but also the real world.
I think it's a part of our lives that like we will cherish forever. So I think that's something that makes me want to go hard every single time I get to play sports. But also just being thankful that I got the opportunity to play and understanding that all good things must come to an end.
The thing I've learned through all of this is simple. Sports are such a special part of our lives. We may struggle when it's over, but widening our interests can help cushion the blow. We have to understand we are worth so much more than our athletic performance. Athletes are just as human as anyone else. The transition from being on top of the world as a star athlete to a regular average Joe is tough. But at the end of the day, the earth keeps spinning and we must push through. That's a lesson anybody can use in their own life. For me, it's not only playing football, but hoping to one day become a coach. If you struggle with depression, don't go through it alone. We've provided a list of resources on our website. People care and people love you. For WETL In-Depth Stories, I'm Elijah Young.